Here you can see the cover image for issue number 3. We're going to do these kind of in sub-series and a couple issues at a time, just to see how it goes from there. So we're going to start with issue number 3, and it starts right off with another kind of breakthrough and another flash. Wanda Blake. He finally remembers his wife's name, finally understands what he needs to do, and he's knowing everything. With 5 years of my life missing, anything might be possible now. After I check on her, I can check on my brothers and mom and dad. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why he's there or that what everything happened. He doesn't know how they're going to perceive him. So basically it cuts again to Małgorzata basically laughing, explaining everything, that he basically sold his soul to the devil to try and see his wife one more time. But in the back end, you know, if you cut a deal with the devil, there's always a twist and there's always a turn. So basically he recruited him to his Hellspawn army. So basically, like I said, sold his soul to come back alive after dying, and there's some twists and turns to come. So now that Al Simmons, Spawn, knows what his wife's name, Wanda Blake, is, he needs to track her down. He needs to figure out where she lives, what her job is, or whatever. So he goes to the CIA headquarters in New York, breaks in there, and it cuts to him basically yoking this guy up, and he says, you listen good. Word is that since you're divorced, you haven't paid a penny in alimony or child support. Basically threatening this guy that if he says that anything that he was there, he'll have to come back and kill him. So he's not going to kill people for no reason. He's not really a bad guy. He's more of an anti-hero. So after a quick another flashback, it's going to cut with our hero, Spawn, right here, going back into human form and knocking on Wanda's door. And basically she opens in a stunning dress in all her glory with the dog there. And he has to come up with kind of an excuse of why he's there, and basically going around saying that he needs to test all the dogs for their chips and make sure they're all up to date and everything like that. Then, as he's standing there, he hears "Mama, Mama," and I like right there how it kind of, the font of "Mama, Mama" oversides his word bubble, and it says a girl. The file didn't say anything about a child. Wow, how can it be? We couldn't. I thought she couldn't. And then again, that confirms Wanda saying that it's her daughter, and he says, we always wanted children, but something wasn't right. Doctor said it was no use, but it was me. God damn it, it was me. So again, he couldn't basically have kids, so that's his first kind of chance and notion that she's with somebody else. There, he says, I couldn't give her what she wanted most. What I wanted, basically a child, and he faints. So when he wakes up, he's there in the house, and he's in front of Wanda and this other guy, and the other guy's Terry, and that was one of his friends when they were together. And basically he's happy, and that she's happy, and she still looks beautiful and everything. But then again, after he leaves the house, it cuts to him as the night falls, his pain only mounts, and then you got this huge word bubble, no. And it says, why are you torturing me? What kind of sadistic pleasure are you getting from this? And now he's he's mad, he's pissed off. He's basically saying, you want to see my power, come and get it. And now we're at 8821 with the power. Like I said, we started with 9999. He says basically, you scumbag. And then the clown, Mr. Spawn, dude, you remember me? Dude, you remember me? And then again, another great spread of a transformation from the clown transforming into the Violator. And then that's where it cuts with our first fight with Spawn with the Violator. And then the Violator says, so let's see how much heart you have. And basically rips Spawn's heart straight from his body. And he basically was saying he's tired of being, a weaker demon and stuff. And he says, I live to serve the master. And as he's walking away with his heart, you hear Violator. And then you have this great 2-page spread. And then Spawn says, who said anything about being human? Like he doesn't even need the heart. So we're left with this 2-page spread. That's where I'm going to leave you guys. Next issue is issue number 4, All Hell Breaks Loose on Earth. So as we see the opening image and cover for issue number 4 with the Violator on there, it previews to kind of him taking off where we left off with him holding Spawn's heart. And it's just a whole synopsis of what has kind of unraveled in the past couple issues. And then we're blown open with another one of these amazing 2-page spreads, and Spawn's like, let's try that again, but this time try and do some real damage. And as he's standing there, he has a huge hole in his chest. There's basically just holding his heart. And he's like, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Who gave you such power? Since when did humans begin to rate? They've always been too fragile. I just don't believe it. And basically he's standing there with Spawn's heart still beating in his, fingertips, and he screams he doesn't need a heart. He's basically flabbergasted because Malebolgia was telling him that this Spawn was special, and he's encountered other Hellspawn in the past and been their mentors. But again, this guy, Al Simmons, is special. So again, he rips out his heart, and that's where we see another panel of the power level, and we are at 8664. And Spawn continues his silence as he's standing there, and it's maybe of an obvious, and he basically just takes his heart off the ground with his powers, shoves it back into his chest, and says, "That's better." And then he says, "Now pay attention, demon," basically telling him that I'll be goddamned if anybody's going to rip my heart out and not pay, going to show Violator the true power of what he can do. Violator, the true power of what he can do. And then again, we get a side splash page of him shooting this full beam, putting a hole through the Violator. And I like how it's like a splash page, but at the bottom, everything it's telling you is more of like kind of in a scripture or a kind of a pamphlet type style. It says, how can he repair a dismembered heart? Why does he have such powers? When is all the madness going to end? Where does he go now that he's lost everything? And that's all the questions bouncing through his mind. So as they continue to fight, Violator's going to say, "You idiot, I'm not the only one that can, regenerate or take those kind of hits." So he basically yeets him through a wall against a bunch of trash. And he says, "Listen here, I'm not here to gameplay. I'm here to make sure keep you in line. I'm here to show you the ropes. That I'm not here, we're not enemies or anything like that." And then it goes into this nice little fight where it says, "Let me give you a pointer like this," and you got a big chomp word bubble with some blood splashing out. And he's like, "No, you take that and this and that." And then Spawn's like, "Ow," as he gets his arm cut off, and then Violator gets his arm cut off. And Spawn's like, "Big deal, I didn't need that arm anyway, what about you?" And then you see this big enough. And that's where Malebolgia finally appears. And he's like, and like it or not, I'm your daddy. So basically he needs to put them in line. And it's this whole thing about how he's explaining all the power, what the power level is. You finally get to understand that every time Spawn uses his power, that it's going to drain away from his power level, and that he could stand by and just wait and let his power level, eventually run out. But at the end of the day, either way, his soul, Al Simmons, belongs to Malebolgia. And then after he explains everything, he gives Spawn's arm back. Basically, that Spawn needs to do his bidding to kill people on Earth to fill up his Hellspawn army so that he can basically take over heaven and pay them back. And then Violator, he's like, "Hey, what about me?" A little something for his effort, and I love the elongated jaw. And he sticks out his stump and stuff like that. And Malebolgia gives him the big silence. And he's like, "You are a erratic child, you are being grounded." And he clenches his fist, and Clown's like, "Hey, I can't change forms." And then he's basically complaining, "It's okay, I'm short, fat, and ugly." And now Clown is left not being able to change forms. So Spawn gets some clothes from the gutter. He puts on a hat, a trench coat, TMNT style costume disguise. And him and Clown kind of go out to the town and stuff. And someone's like, "Hey, there's a superhero, let's go check him out." And being an Image guy, a McFarlane guy, reading this my whole life, I love seeing. Back in the day, I didn't know what this was, but now you see Savage Dragon on the TV, and then he's like, "He's better than a Youngblood. I bet he could take on Badrock. Give me a break. The Rock is a sissy, and he still lives with his mom." And it's all these little quotes and stuff to McFarlane's other work with the Youngbloods and Savage Dragon and stuff like that. And then the final page before we leave off here, you have Wanda waking up, and she's basically having dreams that she's seeing Al Simmons, feeling his pain, that he's still alive. And she's just kind of thinking their dreams, but like she said, it all seems so real. So again, that's how we leave off. We're going to start off next week with issue number 5, and then we have 5, 6, and 7. I thank you guys for watching the series. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys are learning something new. Leave me down in the comments if you're learning anything new, or how you guys are like this, or any details or tips or anything. But again, I'll catch you on my Friday Positivity this Friday. I hope you guys are having an awesome week. Stay legendary, and as always, I hope you guys find what you're looking for. Thank you.